I recently discovered that my wife of 5 years and partner of 8 years has been having an affair with her boss. We have 2 children together, and I'm completely at a loss of what to do. She is military, so we have all of our health care through her. I'm terrified of losing all of our benefits, but I can't forgive what I found on her phone when I went through it. The person she got caught on isn't the only guy she was talking to and flirting with. There were 3 to 4 other men on her phone I found her flirting with. I know she deletes her messages, so there is more than I have been able to find. When I confronted her, she said she was going to end herself and is now in a psychiatric facility for 2 weeks, and I'm alone with the kids, trying to handle everything on my own. I'm currently a full-time student and have been struggling with getting my assignments in on time and taking care of everything else. She keeps saying she is sorry and doesn't want to live without me, but I know she is still lying to me about things she doesn't know. I have proof of. I'm just spiraling all over the place and haven't had a chance to process everything since confronting her last week, since I've been taking care of the kids. I don't know what to do. A voice in my head just keeps telling me I never should have confronted her. Another keeps telling me I should just try to move on. And another is telling me I can never forgive someone who hurt me like this. I don't know what to do, and I just need support or advice. I want to be strong enough to leave, but I'm so afraid. Edit. Y'all, I just wanted to say this is the best damn subreddit I've ever found. I found this place a few days ago from a person posting in another sub their story to get enough karma to post here. I was damn spiraling an hour ago when I made the post, and you all are helping me feel so much stronger. I really needed all this support, and I appreciate everything everyone has said. Thank you. Comments. Comment 1. So sorry, mate. This sounds really rough. You were right to confront her. Sitting on something like that would poison you spiritually. You know you won't forgive, so you need to be thinking only about yourself and the kids from this point forward. Because of the financial situation, you should be talking with a lawyer. They'll best be able to guide you through this. Wishing you strength. You've got this. Original poster replies, I've known for months and didn't confront her because I only found flirty messages and never any proof. I only had what the investigators on the base had told me, which was all second and third-hand information. The last few months have been so good, I really almost managed to bury it all inside, but one day she yelled at me over something small and wouldn't let it go, and I just couldn't hold it in anymore. Comment 2. I'm sorry you're here telling me this. But what are the consequences that he and his wife will suffer administratively? The other men will also be held responsible in some way. Do you know who they are? Original poster replies, I know the other men are all enlisted and at other bases, so they won't get in much trouble if any at all. There isn't the level of proof for those guys, like there is for her boss. All the other guys were names the investigators heard she was involved with before the current affair. I've only seen flirty messages, but never any proof like horny texting or anything. As for her boss, he is single. I asked her if she loved him when I confronted her, and she told me, no, he isn't interested in a relationship. It was just physical. I just wanted to update everyone since this community has been extremely supportive, and I've had a few people reach out. Before my wife had checked into the psychiatric hospital, we had talked about doing things amicably and even going to counseling to try and save our marriage. She was released this week on Wednesday, but had for the week prior gone radio silent. No calls to check on the kids, no calls to check on me or anything else. When she finally did call, it was a brief 2-minute phone call where she asked if she got anything in the mail, and when I said no, she hung up. That for me was what finally set me over the edge. I just kept thinking, I'm out here trying to take care of all our bills, watch where I'm spending money, cut back on non-essentials, get the kids to their extracurricular activities, and figure out how I'm going to survive because I was the full-time student, stay-at-home parent. Meanwhile, she is just doing whatever, and her boss is down the street, just cozy in bed, not worried about what they did to my children and my own lives. So I contacted my attorney and told him to start the paperwork, and I wanted primary custody, child support, and the house. He told me I had an extremely strong case, and after a nice retainer of $10,000, I started down the divorce road. When my wife was released from the hospital, she came back to the house, and we had a long talk about our relationship and moving forward. I told her if she was serious about reconciling, then she needed to prove to me she was willing to put some skin in the game. From all accounts I've heard, she was planning on screwing me in divorce court in a couple of months if she hadn't been caught and running off with this guy. I let her know I was told as much and told her, from my perspective, you were planning on hurting me as much as you could, but the dice didn't roll in your favor, and now you are looking for the security because you are in serious trouble. I told her to find an apartment, and we have 60 days for divorce to be finalized in our state. We could try marriage counseling, but I need to protect myself so I can be the best dad possible for my children. If she wanted to fix things, she needed to show me that she wasn't planning on ruining my life and give me the space I need to heal. Maybe somewhere down the road, therapy can fix things internally for me, and possibly between us. But for right now, I know she is still withholding information, and she is still lying. I held her hand when she was sick and needed infusions at the hospital. I carried her to bed on nights she was in too much pain to walk, and it wasn't enough for her. She chose what she did, and now she is dealing with the consequences. Her family came out to watch her for a few days when she got released, and they are obviously taking her side with things. She either manipulated them, or more likely the entire family is just ethically bankrupt. When the process server gave her the paperwork, she tried taking the kids, but I told her she couldn't. Her family tried blaming me and telling me I was messed up for doing this, but I told them I had a right to react how I chose in response to what she did. She took pretty much everything of hers from the house and left last night, and it's been radio silent since. I'm writing this as my kids play with their toys in the other room. My assignments have all been turned in on time. I'm still holding a 4.0 GPA. The laundry is almost done, the dishes are drying, and dinner is already set for tonight. I've made every practice for them in the last 2 weeks, and I've kept the house clean and even found some time for myself last Friday night. I don't know who will read this message, but I just wanted to tell you, it can be done. I have no idea how I'm going to make it move forward, but I'm going to. To all the beautiful people who messaged me when I needed it, and the people who took time out of their nights the last few weeks to help me when I was a mess of anger, grief, and depression. Thank you. The people here gave me the push I needed to stand up for myself and not accept living in hell, to stay with someone who only loved the things I provided for them and never me. This is all far from over, and when I have more information, I'll post it here so someone in the future can find it and know things can be okay, even if it hurts now. I leave this post with some of the best advice I've gotten in the last 2 weeks. You aren't in love with her. You are in love with a lie she showed you to get what she wanted. Take the time to grieve the loss of the relationship. The person you thought you knew is gone, and it's okay to not be okay about that. Better to face the poison today on your own terms than it is to hide from it and let it slowly destroy you for the rest of your life. Comments. Comment 1. Hang in there. This shall pass. Never tip your hand. Yeah, just give them time to be more strategic and find a way to play the victim. Original poster replies, I'm not. She has no idea the level of evidence they have on them. I won't even post it here just in case they find it somehow. But they are so screwed it's not even funny. Knowing what I know about how she got caught is what makes it easier to be strong about the divorce. She got caught because she was bragging to her coworkers about how stupid I was for not catching on to her late-night walks to meet up with him, and that when they both got out of the military later this year, they were planning on screwing my life up in divorce court. Comment 2. Does her family know, or will you eventually tell them? It sucks the way that they are treating you. If she was arrested and charged for the affair with her boss and fired, won't her family get information about this? Do the kids know what's going on? Did they see their mom when she came to get her stuff? I'm happy that you're getting through this while trying to keep sane at the same time. Completing university courses, plus taking care of your kids, the house, bills, and yourself is a tall order, and you're doing great. Original poster replies, her mom and her sister are here right now. I've told both of them about the affairs and that she is in serious trouble, but that was about it. I asked her if she went into details with them and she said no, so I'm sure she is manipulating them. If it wasn't for my kids, I would already have cut them out of my life. If they continue acting how they are though, that will probably happen, unfortunately, because they are already showing signs of poisoning the kids. I doubt they will ever hear from the military since they wouldn't look, and the military wouldn't reach out like that. As far as the kids go, they were kept mostly out of the way watching a movie while she packed. They don't really understand what's going on yet, because they are young, 3 and 5. For the last 2 weeks, Mom was at the doctor, since she always had medical appointments anyway. Today, she is at her sister's house. But that answer won't work forever. I wish she had stopped to think about what she was going to do to the kids before she decided to sleep with her boss, because I have no idea how to explain to my kids that Mom and Dad can't live together anymore. I always made sure my kids knew my wife was the love of my life. When my daughter said, "Mommy is your true love, you are going to be with her forever and ever," the other day, I started crying in the car, cleaning out old things. I'm writing this partially for myself and partially for anyone else struggling to let go. You can read my post history for more information, but my spouse and I have been going through the divorce process for the last few weeks since I confronted her about her affair, and she confirmed it. We briefly tried to reconcile, but she never stopped lying, and I knew it would never stop, and filed for divorce. The night she was served with papers, her sister was visiting, and together they packed most of my wife's things into boxes. They left without saying much to me, other than her sister telling me I was a bad person for divorcing her. She didn't contact me for several days, and then eventually said she wanted to come by and get some more things. When she did, she left behind basically everything I had bought for her during our relationship. I've always enjoyed fashion and bought for my wife many different outfits, clothes, and jewelry over our relationship. Getting them back hurt quite a lot because it was another sign she was moved past me, despite a part of me still being attached to her. I am writing this as I'm sitting on the floor of our closet. I couldn't bear to look at the clothing anymore. Seeing all the clothes she looked so beautiful in breaks something inside of me. Despite the poor treatment, despite the cheating, despite the lying and manipulation, there will always be a part of me that loves the person I thought my wife was. The designer clothes we pick out together on a shopping date, the Harry Potter house slippers I got her for Christmas, and even the sweatpants I bought for her when she had the flu. It all looked so beautiful on her because she always looked beautiful no matter what she was wearing to me. Now it sits in a couple of bags on the floor. I'll take it to Goodwill this week because they are too nice to go to waste, but I can't look at them anymore. The person I thought I loved is dead, and these clothes are just a reminder now of the person wearing her face that caused me so much harm. You can't move on when you are holding on to the past. Don't hold on to mementos. It won't bring back the person you loved. It'll only remind you that person wasn't real. Update 2. I've had a few people message me about an update, and since I have some time tonight, I thought I would continue to share with people my story, good, bad, or ugly, on the off chance it helps even a single person. A few days after my last post, my soon-to-be ex-wife finally reached out to me to set up spending time with the kids. It was haphazardly done an hour before their bedtime, and when I said I was uncomfortable with letting her take them, and I wanted to discuss it in the morning, she said, "So, you are withholding the children from me. Am I understanding that right?" I knew from her demeanor and use of the word withholding that she was laying a legal trap for me, so I let her take the children under the written agreement that they would be returned to me in 2 days' time, and that her visiting family would be there with her to watch the kids as well. I spent those 2 days getting some much-needed rest. I had not really had a chance to rest since D-Day, so it was in a way a welcome respite. She seemed upset that night, but came by the next morning to pick up some things for the kids. She was back to her old self. The woman that I married shattered the dam that had been holding my emotions for the last month. I cried uncontrollably and started having a panic attack in the entryway of the house. She stopped what she was doing and knelt down to me and just held me. She told me everything was going to be all right. She loved me and that things would work out no matter what. When I calmed down, she kissed me one last time and left. On the day the kids were set to return, she texted me an hour before the agreed time and said she wasn't bringing them back. I called her numerous times and she picked up once, told me I couldn't have them back, and then hung up. It was late in the afternoon on the weekend, and I was unable to get a hold of my attorney. His secretary actually called me from her personal line and told me to just make sure everything is in text message between us and to hold on for our court date that was scheduled in a few days. What followed was one of the worst weekends of my life. I had panic attacks seemingly every hour, couldn't sleep, barely ate, and just held on for dear life. I was reminded of an old sailor saying, "Hold fast," and that is what I did in the storm I found myself in. When my court date arrived, I was about as nervous as I could have been. I knew at this point my soon-to-be ex-wife had been lying to people about what happened. She has turned every neighbor we talk to regularly against me, and they all won't talk to me. I was afraid. But my lawyer and I arrived an hour early and strategized. Her attorney and her arrived 5 minutes before the hearing and tried to pin everything on me, saying I was a liar, a manipulator, that I put her in the psych ward against her will, and that she was only depressed because I had spent days screaming at her. My lawyer calmly played one of the recordings I had of her. I had recorded the conversation where she said she wanted to end herself and had started recording before I walked into the house to have it with her, as I did not know what to expect. In the recording, she talked about how I was the better parent. I always stopped her from snapping at the kids, how she had been abusive to me for a long time, that therapy wasn't helping her, and she didn't know how to control herself. The demeanor of her and her attorney changed very quickly, from arrogance to uncertainty. I then revealed that she had been withholding the children from me for a week, in violation of the court order, and that was enough to get them to strike a deal with us. I am now the primary custodian of my 2 children. She has to pay me $450 a month in child support, and is now under mandated supervised visits with the children, and must send me her GPS location at all times when she has them. The return of my children has been one of the greatest sense of relief in my life. I have sat deployed in hardened shelters, waiting for the all-clear signal from inbound rockets, and never have I felt that level of relief as I did in court that morning. We were getting by, just barely that month. She was gone without supporting us, and knowing that I am getting child support has lifted a great weight off my shoulders. There is nothing now for us other than to wait for our mediation date to split all of our assets finally and be done. For the people specifically interested in the punishment my spouse and her affair partner were going to receive from the military, I have bad news for you. They dropped the charges against them. He is set to retire in less than 50 days, and once she said she was going to end herself, I think they took pity on her and started to view her as a victim rather than a willing participant. Either way, the base has decided to sweep everything under the rug after quietly removing him from his command. I wish I could say I was angry, but at this point, I don't even care. I got the only 2 people who mattered in the divorce. My soon-to-be ex-wife can have everyone else. I find myself at times still angry that they both get away with what they did to my children, but I'm not afforded the luxury of anger now. I need to focus on being a good single parent, and that anger is only going to hold me down. It's hard most days, but I feel a little lighter and a little more calm each day. I've met so many wonderful people here and where I live because of everything that's happened, and they've given me great hope. I'm not the type to quit or give up on things, and I haven't given up on finding love again. I experienced what it was like to love someone completely and know somewhere in the future I'll find that again, this time with a person that loves me the same. Having experienced this hell and all that is sure to follow, I know I will be better at setting boundaries and standing up for myself. This weekend is her first scheduled weekend of custody since violating the original court order. I'm not sure what to do with myself after being a single parent the last month and a half. I'm going to go to the gym tomorrow, and then I think I'm going to go kayaking for a bit. There is peace in the freedom of the future.